I'm fighting here. Hello lovelies, welcome to the March 2021 episode of the Not Quite Enough Yarn podcast. My name is Leslie. This is a podcast about yarn, fibre, knitting, spinning, crochet, weaving, machine knitting, whatever I have a go at. It was recorded on the south coast of England. And hello, welcome. Thank you so much for being here. Whether this is your first visit or your umpteenth, you are very welcome. So thank you so much. Let me talk a bit about backgroundy stuff. So why is it called Not Quite Enough Yarn when I have cupboards and boxes of the stuff? Because I rarely have enough to make a whole garment from the same yarn. The one I'm wearing is a case in point. This has Norrow in it, but it has two different balls of Norrow because I didn't have quite enough of one to finish it. So all hand knits I wear will be listed in the notes. I record throughout the month and then put it all together and post at the end of the month, so I'll be in different places, and this will be in various states of untidiness, this being my office and where I store all my craft stuff. I'm not a tidy person, as you can see, so this varies a bit, but not enough to make it interesting, sadly. Yes, that's kind of who I am, what I am, why we're called what we are. Make along. I am running a make along this year with the fabulous Kellyanne of the Yarn Tales by the Sea podcast, and we are running an accessory mal. So any accessory you're making for the person, it can be hats, it can be socks, it can be cowls, leg warmers, whatever it is that you wear that's not a garment, by all means include it. We draw quarterly. There are 2 threads on Ravelry, and if you can't use Ravelry, please do email me at notquiteenoughyarn@gmail.com. So we've got 2 threads on Ravelry. One is the finished object thread for you to post your pictures, and you know, by all means add a bit of description about what the pattern is, what the yarn is, whatever you would like to say about it. That is a no chatter thread, so people won't be able to respond to that. But there will be a draw from that thread every quarter for a physical prize, bag, yarn, something tangible. Not quite sure what this means. There is also a chatter thread, and you are more than welcome to post your finished object or your work in progress or whatever you would like to put in on that thread as well, and people can comment and you can have conversations about what you're making and so forth. There is a draw for that every quarter as well, and that will be for a pattern prize. So I hope that you are enjoying that if you're taking part. If you're not taking part but you get a chance, it's worth a look because some of the projects are just absolutely stunning. I've already increased my queue again. Patterns that I hadn't come across before that just look really interesting and fun. So thank you to everyone who's taking part. That's the make along. Double dipping is very much encouraged, so by all means, as long as you're a member of the group, you can take part in the Not Quite Enough Yarn draw, you can take part in the Yarn Tales by the Sea draw, and if you're involved in any other make along, so Barbara from Flame and Fibre has the Ode to Joy mal for projects that are bringing you joy, and any other make along where they are happy for you to multiple dip, by all means, if you're entering their make along, put it into ours. Only real criteria started after the 1st of January this year. Couldn't be easier, hopefully. So yes, that's the make along. And as we're in March, I will be doing the first quarter's draw at the end of this month. So you'll see that towards the latter part of this podcast. Yeah, I think that's it. I've got a very small finished object to show you. This is a follow-on from last month. I had reworked the sleeves of a sweater that I'd made a couple of years ago. I found that the sleeves were very baggy and that's not my style of wearing things. So I decided to rip them back and rework them. With the yarn that was left over, it was 100% cotton yarn, I decided to make a small hand towel. Now obviously if I decided to make this a cowl, it could be in the drawer, but it's not, and I don't enter my own competitions anyway, that would be odd. But it's just a little hand towel for our downstairs cloakroom. No pattern involved in this. All I did was the first row, these are UK terms, first row was all trebles, and then I alternated double trebles in the front of the stitch or in the back of the stitch, and going back the other way, alternated it the other way to give a sort of slight basket weave effect. It's a double knitting weight yarn. I did it on a 5mm hook, so it's a little loose, but it will do the job fine. I was amazed at how much yarn I had left from those sleeves after I'd reworked them. Because although I was making them quite a lot smaller, this is actually 130 grams of yarn, which I was very surprised about. But rather than put it back into stash, I thought I'd just make something useful from it. So yes, that's my first little finished object. One thing I forgot to say when talking about the yarn is I am not buying yarn this year. I've had 3 out of 4 years as a kind of no-buy year, because I would like to get my stash down to 2 cupboards. I currently have 3 plus boxes and all that. And my ultimate plan is that this cupboard here, number 1, will house my hand knits. That seems to me a very sensible way to treat a glass-fronted cupboard, but at the moment there's no room because we have the as yet to be constructed hand knits. So that's what we've got going on there. What does this month hold? Well, not a lot. Not exactly jetting off anywhere or doing lots of exciting things. My work is as a funeral celebrant, which has been very busy of late, as you can probably imagine. Still fairly busy as I sit here recording this going into March. Hopefully it will calm down a little so I'll have more crafting time, but yes, it's pretty much work and crafting at the moment, like it is for a lot of people, and I consider myself fortunate that I can work. I know a lot of people have not had that opportunity, so I am very lucky in that respect. Right, I will catch up with you later in the month when I have something to show you. Cheers. Hello lovelies. I've got some yarn acquisition, not because I've been buying any, but because I've been given some. So many thanks to the lovely Kellyanne, she of Yarn Tales by the Sea. I saw her briefly the other day, and in a socially distanced manner, I must confirm. And she had been sorting out her stash and come across some yarns that she'd kind of tried things with but didn't really like, and she thought, if there's someone who knows how to use up yarn and to make use of yarn, it's our Les. So thank you, Kellyanne. Bless your cottons. Cotton being the operative word, because I have some cotton yarns here. So the first one is Rowan Cotton Glace in this rather lovely pink. There are 2 skeins of Katia Degrade. So we've got the yellow and this more of a sort of coral sort of colour. And then 2 balls of Katia Bombay in a couple of different colourways, both of which I'm rather taken with because look how bright and lovely they are. So yes, we have some very nice cotton yarn. Haven't decided yet. I'm thinking possibly summer neckwear, because I'm going through a phase of making kind of cowls and shawlettes and things like that to wear with my work clothes. And in the summer, cotton might be a very comfortable choice. So that's what I'm thinking. And we should just be grateful I'm thinking, really. I also have a finished object. My niece, who gave birth to my great niece in November, has been given lots of lovely things for the baby, of course. And I said to her, look, I'm not going to kind of inundate you with stuff, but if you need anything, Auntie Les is here. And she messaged me and said that as the seasons were changing, the baby was wearing a sort of fluffy all-in-one baby grow thing, but actually she wanted, the mum wanted a more of a thick jacket rather than an all-in-one. She felt it was getting a little bit too warm for that. And my niece sent me some Pinterest pictures of the sort of thing she was after, so I went looking for patterns and I came across this one. And it's got little ears. And I had to. So, it is a pattern by, I'm going to do this wrong, Scrappy, or Sheepses as a lot of people call it. It's the Billy Bear jacket by Jane Burns. And it's just really cute. Now, it calls for... Thank you. Oh, she does go on that one. It calls for a kind of worsted weight towards an Aran weight yarn. And I didn't have the right yarn for the sort of colours that she wanted, or enough to make a kind of cohesive whole of that weight. But I do have a lot of baby 4-ply weight or fingering weight that I got when, I do apologise for my dog, she's very chatty. Yeah, I got this yarn when a local yarn shop was closing, must be 4 years ago now. Isn't it frightening how time flies? So I thought I would use this double. And so here is my FO. So it's a little double-breasted jacket with a hood and ears. And fairly straightforward. Sleeves are just straight, drop shoulder, that's the phrase I'm looking for. Yeah, so just straight sleeves, knitted in pieces and sewn together. It's a paid for pattern, but very inexpensive. It was something like £1.50. It was a very, very inexpensively priced pattern. And it's really sweet. The sizing goes up to 18 to 24 months. Now, I struggled to get gauge because I was using, you know, different yarns and all of that. So I made the smallest size, which is the 0 to 3 months, knowing that my gauge was a little loose, so it would come up a bit bigger. So here it is, and I'm very pleased with it. All was going swimmingly until I was sewing it up. Now, if I just made it all in one colour, like the pattern said, and I had enough, I could have done that. I would have had no problems at all because it's garter stitch, everything would be reversible. But I had put this little edging on, which of course means, because you want to turn it over, you sew it on effectively on the wrong side, so that when you turn it over, you're on the right side. I don't know what was wrong with me yesterday, but I was having a complete and utter nightmare putting this together. I'd knitted everything except the ears, because I'd already joined the shoulders, made the hood, but sewing the sleeves on, I think I've unpicked both of them and turned them round, but at individual times, otherwise I'd have to just turn the thing inside out. It was just, I don't know what was going wrong. And in the end, I realised that I had exposed seams on the join of the arms. and I was getting to the point where I was getting rather fed up with the whole thing. That may have been the language I used. And then I thought, I'm just going to trim these seams with a bit of the purple colour. And because I'd done that, I then thought, and I did that just with a double crochet UK, single crochet. I then tacked it down as well because it was kind of sticking up and I wanted it to lay flatter, so I just tacked it down. Because I'd done that, I just then went around the whole front, round the hood and down again, and putting an edging on that. But I rather like the effect of that. I think it makes it very smart looking. I then couldn't find my buttons. I have a lot of buttons. I've kind of inherited people's button collections over the years, and I separated them into different colours. And I use, and people in the UK will recognise this, the pots that you get your takeaway food in. So you get a curry, you get a Chinese meal, and they're in these plastic pots with plastic lids, and they are the most useful pots. And I know lots of people who save them and use them for lunch boxes to take their sandwiches to work and that sort of thing. Crafters, of course, use them for their craft things. I somewhere have a box of white and cream buttons that are about the right size. It's not with my sewing stuff, so I will find it. But I then did find these little teddy bear buttons. And although the colours aren't a perfect match, they've got little ears too. So little hood's got little ears. Little bears have got little ears. I am pleased with it, but I wasn't about 5 o'clock yesterday afternoon. Then I was less than pleased and somewhat grumpy. So, yarn. The yarn that I used double is Patterns Fairy Tale, sorry. Fairy Tale Dreamtime 4-ply. This is in colour 2931. Because I got this so long ago, I don't know if this is still being made. I seem to have a ladybird on my yarn there. That's rather strange. See? Get rid of that, but fly away home, little ladybug. I'm not averse to ladybirds, but I don't want them to suffocate in my yarn bags. Yes, so Patterns Fairy Tale Dreamtime 4-ply in a cream colour. I used 942 all but meters of it. Bearing in mind I was holding it double, so that would be of a worsted weight 400 odd meters. And the purple is Caron Simply Soft, so I just used a few meters of that, and the sort of paler lilac colour, just some generic double knitting I've got in the stash. So this will now go in the post to little one. I will hopefully meet her in a couple of weeks, hopefully, but she might need this before I meet her, so I'm going to put this in the post. So there we go. The Billy Bear jacket, and since I've been making this, I've had the Divine Comedy song Come Home Billy Bird in my head, which is why it's the title of this month's podcast, and I'm hoping it will now be out of my head, because I like the song, but not as much as I've been hearing it, if you see what I mean. So, yeah, I think that's everything. Cute little pattern, very inexpensive pattern, and I am hoping that it will do the job and keep little one warm. Cool. Hello lovelies. I am hiding about my person 2 finished objects. I'm hiding them in plain sight. I'm not hiding them very well. Yes, I have 2 FOs. After what felt like a month where not much would get finished, stuff did, so that's good. So firstly, let me talk to you about this cowl. Now, earlier in the month, I was very kindly given some yarn by Kellyanne of Yarn Tales by the Sea, and I've already used some of it. I have a ceremony coming up, and the colour theme is yellow. It was the lady's favourite colour. And when I saw this, I thought that would be great. So this cowl is a heavily modified version of the Lacy cowl by Kiku Corner. Notes on the back of an envelope again, as you can see. I'm so classy. And I'll put a picture in here of the original pattern so you can see just how different it is. I'll also take this off to give you a chance of a better look at it. So this is the Lacy cowl by Kiku Corner. My modifications. I'm using heavier yarn, so the pattern is for a 4-ply weight. I'm using double knitting weight, so heavier yarn and bigger hook. Makes sense. Fewer stitches. Because I knew I had 1 ball of the yellow, the Katia yarn, I didn't want to make it a really long cowl and find that the yellow didn't go as far as I'd hoped, so happy with the sizing on this. I had a slightly different repeat pattern. So these stripes, and this is a free pattern, I'll put the link below so I'm not giving away any secrets. These stripes, I started off going in the suggested pattern sequence, and I ended up changing it slightly because I knew I was running out of the yellow, and also I wasn't kind of following the pattern that closely. So these are the patterns, the stitches that they put into their pattern, but I'm using them in a slightly different sequence. I added the second colour, which is some just white double knitting weight cotton that I had in the stash. I could have made it just a smaller cowl, because I have been told that I look like a daisy in it. I have lovely friends. Only joking, girls, only joking. So yes, I added the second colour, and I did a couple of different edges. The original pattern I think doesn't have any edging stitches. I felt that something was needed on this kind of shorter, closer cowl. So we have 2 different edges, and these are my usual, if I'm going to edge anything in crochet, it will be one of these 2. So this end is a simple shell, so 5 trebles UK terms every 3rd stitch, alternating with a slip stitch. It was really badly described. Basically, slip stitch, miss 2, 5 trebles, miss 2, slip stitch, crochet, repeat. Yeah, that's it basically. And the other edge I did crab stitch. So this is double crochet, again UK terms, single crochet US terms, worked backwards. So as I'm a right-handed crocheter, this is worked from left to right rather than right to left, and it gives that nice slightly picot looking, slightly knobbly edging to it. So this is my Lacy cowl, which I will wear. I may even, depending on how it looks with my overall ensemble for the occasion, I might tuck it in and just have the yellow, depending on how it looks with the jacket that I'm wearing it with. So that's the first FO. Now, can you guess what the second one is? This is one that has been on the needles for a long time, deliberately so. It's the project that I have when I'm checking things off my screen. It's a nice simple stocking stitch, so I don't have to look at it and I can read what's on my screen and keep knitting. So that's that. This pattern was very kindly given to me, so thank you again to the lovely person who made a gift of this to me. You are extremely kind and lovely and wonderful. And this is the Stillness by Elizabeth Sullivan. And I'm going to stand up, and you'll see that although I'm wearing it, it still has a chevy rail stitch marker because this is where I was last time I showed it to you. So there we go, that's where we were. I can take that out soon. I'm going to put some pictures in of me wearing this so you can see the whole sweater. I haven't blocked it yet. I think I'm going to be slightly rebellious. I don't even know if I'm going to block it. Reckless, I know. Because I will wear it. The only bit that really feels like it needs blocking is the neckband at the back. And I'll wear it a couple of times, wash it, and then block it out when I wash it. So that's my thought process. So I'm going to now take my clothes off. I'm going to take it off so that I can talk you through it. So what we have here is a V-neck sweater. The arm shaping is contiguous. So it comes up with that sort of mock saddle shoulder at the top there, and then is more of a set-in sleeve kind of shape. V-neck, as you can see. This is what I mean about the ribbing, but when I've washed it that will stand up nicely. Tapered sleeve, 2x2 rib, cuff and hem. It's the first garment I've made that has any waist shaping. So you can see it's a very subtle sort of waist shaping in here. Less subtle in the back for some reason, but don't know if you'll be able to see that. You can hopefully see that line going down. So just some very subtle waist shaping. And I was a little concerned because it's designed to be a fitted piece with 0 or negative ease. It's come out a little looser than that, which I'm fine with. And I was worried that the waist shaping would kind of pull it all in a bit too much and make it feel like a kind of tight t-shirt kind of thing. It doesn't at all. But it doesn't feel kind of baggy and oversized. It just feels kind of cozy and nice. So I'm very happy with that. I didn't make any modifications. That doesn't happen often. Yeah. So I'll talk to you about the yarns. Just a note on the construction. Like I say, it's contiguous at the top and you just work down, completely seamless. I had a lot of ends to weave in because of the stripes, but completely seamless. So that was a pleasant change as well, because once I'd done the neckband, I was done. It was just ends, which I don't think I've ever had before, because there's normally something to weave it, to seam up somewhere. And in this there absolutely wasn't, so that was rather lovely too. So let me go through the yarns. I have my piece of paper. Now there is some very old stash in here. Well, the newest yarn is 3 years old, so yes, there is some very old stash in here. So let me go through the yarns with you. I just have to say this feels gorgeous. There's a lot of merino and some nice soft wonderful fibres in here, which means it will be super cozy and very soft, and it feels just kind of comforting. So the pale lilac here, so I'm calling it the main colour, although it's not the one that most is used of, but certainly the ones for the welts, the cuffs, between all the stripes. That is Lanas Stop Extra Merino. One moment, caller. I left my ball band over there. So yes, Lanas Stop Extra Merino. And that is 52% wool, 48% acrylic. The deep pink colour, or deeper pink colour, is Sublime Cashmere Merino Silk DK. Oh, luxury, luxury. So our fibres here, 75% extra fine merino, 20% silk, 5% cashmere. I told you it was soft and squishy. The next colour, now this is, oh, just to give you an idea, I said this would be deep stash. These were both from 2014. So that's now 7 years old. This paler pink at the top, so you can see it there between the two deeper stripes, is from 2008. Yeah, and this is Louisa Harding Cashmere DK, 55% merino, 35% microfiber, 10% cashmere. And that's the construction of it. It looks like a really mini I-cord. It's almost like a knitted cord yarn, so it's a pickle if you catch it, because then it kind of, yeah, it's not nice. The next colour, and that's this variegated one, was a gift from the lovely, gorgeous, fabulous Ducky Darlings, and this was very kindly given. She sent over 2 skeins. This was back in July 2018, so this is the newest stash in this sweater, and at the time she offered me one to keep and one to give away, and I did a giveaway at the time saying which one do you want, and did a draw, and that was one, and I had this one. Now this is a lovely soft yarn as well. It's quite plump and scrumptious. It is Fusion's the colourway, and it's 80% merino, 20% bamboo, and it is just really lovely to use. And I'm really enjoying how just that one variegated yarn in there just gives it a real kind of pop, because we've got these lovely colours in amongst this more sort of straightforward conventional striping pattern. And the last one is grey here, which I'm going to hold really close because it's got some stellina in it, and I don't know if it will show up because of the way the lights are. It's dark out and I've got the lights on, but that is from Easy Knits UK. That was from 2014, and that is the Twinkle DK base, 75% merino, 20% silk and 5% metallic. So you can see why me, with my I love soft yarns thing going on, I'm very happy with this. It feels quite, as I said, comforting, cosy, just has a really nice feel. You can see a bit of that shaping there. It's quite subtle, but it just gives that sense of tailoring in slightly for the waist, which is a nice touch. So very happy. The only reason it's taken me so long is when I've chosen to knit this. It's not because I reached a point where I thought I don't want to make it. It's just the way I chose. It was a deliberate thing, that because it was relatively straightforward to knit whilst doing something else, so I did. I just had to keep a check on my row numbers for changing colour, and also for decreases for the sleeves and for the shaping and that sort of thing. So I am very happy with it. In total, I think I used about 1,600 metres of yarn. I made the biggest size, which I think is a 60-inch chest, something like that. I really like it. Podcasters really shouldn't get dressed and undressed on screen, should they? But come on, who wouldn't want to put this on? So yes, it's all rather lovely, and I am very happy with it. And now I've finished this, I feel I can start on my next knitted project, which is Pure Fuzz by Skein Deer. This will be made using a magic ball of 4-ply, various assorted 4-plies, leftovers, minis, scraps, that have been plied with some very fine grey boucle. So I've got a couple of bobbins. There is some mohair in the mix, so it looks a lot woollier. So it will be quite scrappy looking, but with that grey running through it. And I'm going to make the Pure Fuzz by Skein Deer. And that's my next knitted project. I do have a crochet one on the go. Well, And you know, there are cowls on the go and all sorts of things, but this will be my next major knitted project. I don't know why I'm slapping that box. Because I've still got them on a bobbin, I'm going to knit them from the bobbin, I think, because it seems a bit pointless to wind it onto a cake to then use it. I might as well just keep it on the bobbin. So that is a finished object and a future plan. Yay! Not going to be the most long. Let me start that again. It's not going to... oh, goodness. It's not going to be the longest podcast this month. Yay, they all cry. But we do still have the month end, quarter end prizes to give away, and also the pattern giveaway, which was kindly offered by the previous winner, and some extra pattern giveaways, because there are some lovely people out there who are incredibly generous. So details of that to follow in what will probably be the next section. And yeah, lovely to give things away. Hello lovelies. It's a lovely bright day, and I'm going to bring this podcast to its end. That doesn't mean to say I'm going to go in the next 2 minutes. There are a few bits to get through. Gosh, my grammar is bad. Right. Firstly, as well as not making any modifications to the Stillness sweater that I've just shown you, there's another confession I must make. I've got yarn left over. I don't know who I am anymore. I'm going to blame COVID. Yes, leftovers. Well, they can go into another project, because I won't have enough for 2 sweaters, so that's good. I have about my person these bundly things, and what these are tubes that have been cranked using my whirly machine, my Addy King size. I have 5 so far. I'm going to do another 2, I think, and these are going to be joined together to make a scrappy but cosy blanket. So these are little oddballs and scraps of different colour yarns, as you can see. Sorry, that was a fairly obvious thing to say. And yes, I saw a tutorial on YouTube, which I will try and find and link below, for making these tubes and how the best way to kind of sew them together or crochet them together and make a blanket. So I have 5 of them. They are 300 rows each, and because they're tubes, this will be a sort of double thickness blanket, which is why it will be so super cozy. The initial intent was to have grey as the kind of modifying colour, the unifying colour. And yeah, so these tubes will join together. They'll be grey at the top and the bottom, but the rest of the grey won't match. Oh, it might slightly mismatch. I'm going to have to try and avoid that. But the hope was just to have a kind of, just something to link each tube. And of course I've now run out of grey. So my 2 edge tubes will be black, and probably most of my joining will be black as well. So this will be a cosy blanket. It was as much an opportunity to use up all those little bits and to try this technique. So I will hopefully have that done. I mean, I've done sort of 1 or 2 a week of these tubes, because they don't take long to do. They take a little while, take a bit of cranking, take a bit of shoulder work. I have now, because I love a gadget, bought an attachment which goes on my machine that you fit a fairly low powered electric screwdriver into, and it does the cranking for you. I haven't tried that yet, so we'll see how that goes. But all this stuff is turning into a very good stash buster for all those little scrappy double knitting weight bits. So this will possibly be finished next month, we will see. If not, I will probably be smothered with it like some kind of 50s science fiction thing, because there'll be so much of it. Melodramatic? Me? No. How about a day? Let's go on to prizes. Generosity is a wonderful thing and is always so touching. And I have lots of examples of it this month. Now, last month, the prize from the Stash Mail chatter thread was kindly reoffered because the person who'd won it felt that because they hadn't done much else on those projects that they discussed, they didn't feel comfortable accepting the prize. That was very kind of them, so I suggested that you lovely folks nominate someone who's perhaps been having not such a good time of it, and you have kindly given some nominations. I also received messages from two people. One, Kylie, home on 15 acres, and I'll link below to people's Ravelry pattern pages, their podcasts or what have you. So Kylie from home on 15 acres. Of course I could be pointing that way because she's in Australia, so she could be pointing that way for me because I'm that way up to her. Yeah, anyway. So Kylie from 15 acres very generously offered a pattern prize, as did Christine from Sweet Lavender Knits. And Christine also has a podcast, which again I will link below. She has a lovely, gentle way about her. I like Christine. And so thank you to both Kylie and Christine for your generous offers. That is super kind. And the nominations came in, so I was able to kind of linky. And I have contacted the winners on this one. This ordinarily with the next bit of drawing I'll be doing, it'll be asking you to contact me. But in this particular case, I have contacted the winners. So we've had 3 people: Rebecca, Cece and Valerie. And it was lovely that someone who has been nominated for a prize also nominated someone else for a prize. So that is fabulous, and I'd like to thank everyone for your nominations. Again, thanks to Christine and to Kylie for your prizes, and thank you to Lisa for reoffering the first prize in the first place, if you see what I mean. So thank you, just lovely. So I've contacted those people, so hopefully you've got a message from me and you will get in contact and we can sort out getting the patterns to you. Just before I go on to the prizes, there are another couple of podcasts I've been watching, so as well as Christine at Sweet Lavender Knits, and I have put a list below of the podcasts that I watch, people I usually mention like Chevy Rail, Barbara, you know, the people that you hear me talk about every now and again. There are another couple that I've been watching new to me. One is Davina of Little Workroom Crafts, who is good fun. She also does a lot of stitching, embroidery, quilting, that sort of thing, as does Anita of Gaga Knits. So there's a good kind of mix of crafts in both of their podcasts. And also Anne of Spa Knits, who I think is up to episode 7. And yeah, she's lovely, she's good fun. So another couple there. If you are looking for podcasts that you may not have yet heard of, give them a try. Did I have any other notes on that bit of paper? I have a lot of bits of paper at the moment. No, I think that is that, which is good. So back to generosity. I had contact from someone, and I will spare their blushes because they know who they are, who was saying they're having a bit of a de-stash. Would I like some yarn to give away as prizes? And thank you very much. I think I have enough yarn for all of this year's prizes from them. So thank you so much. That is incredibly generous of you. I've already been in conversation with them and thanked them, but I just want to say, you know who you are. Thank you so much for these prizes. They are fabulous. It's all about sharing the love. So as I have been kindly given the yarn for these prizes, I would like to offer to make a charity donation to the winners. So if you are a winner of a pattern prize, and this month, this quarter, it's this fabulous pattern prize, I will make a donation of £25 or whatever your currency equivalent is to a charity of your choice. So when you claim your prize, let me know which charity you would like me to donate to. So thank you to those who have been generous and enabling me to do that, because the reason why this channel is monetized is to cover prize costs and postage costs and that sort of thing. So if I've generously been given a prize, then I can give that money to good, and the good of the prize winner's choice. So thank you, thank you, thank you. So prizes. First of all, the pattern prize. So this is quarter one of the accessory mal, and I've gone from number 2 to number 408 on the thread. These numbers are phenomenal. Thank you so much for taking part. There are so many lovely projects on there. There are hats, there are socks, there are shawls, there are all sorts of things. So yep, any accessory for the person applies. So thank you so much for putting your entries on there. So on the chatter thread, I went from thread number 2, because thread number 1 was me, to thread number 408, and the winner is post number 222, Lynn Clary. And Lynn had posted a picture of some mitts that she'd made. So well done, Lynn. Please get in contact with me to claim your pattern prize. We've had this conversation before. Lynn won a prize, I think it was either last year or the year before, in the stash mail. So congratulations again. So please get in touch. I normally say by the 25th of the month, but because of how the weekend falls, if you could get in touch please by the 23rd of April. St George's Day, Shakespeare's birthday, all of that stuff. Yeah, it doesn't mean a thing if you're not English. Or actually, St George was born, it's patron saint of England, but was born in what is now Turkey. So everything is global. So yes, Lynn, please get in touch with me by the 23rd of April to claim your pattern prize. Thank you very much for taking part. And this gorgeous yarn, let me tell you about it first of all. It is Juno FibreArts.com. It's 100% superwash blueface Leicester, 400 meters for 100 grams, so 437 yards. It's a 4-ply sock yarn, sock weight. It's a one-off dye lot called Damp. I think that's what it says. It's a much nicer colour than damp suggests, certainly. So it's beautiful. You've got greens, you've got browns, you've got all sorts of subtle colouring in there. Absolutely gorgeous. So yes, this will be on its way to the lucky winner once they have claimed it. And that prize, I went from number 2 to number 369. So we're up to 368 on the thread, but I also had an email entry. And I think what I'm going to do in future is when an email entry comes through to me, especially as Ravelry is changing and we're losing the old colours at the end of this month, so that may exclude it for more people. This make along will be the last, this year will be the last time I do a make along on Ravelry, I think, for that reason. But in the future, if you send me an email entry because you're unable to use Ravelry, what I'll do is go onto the Ravelry thread and just put a post in, email dated blah blah blah, so that the numbers on the emails aren't always just kind of stuck on the end. I know it's a random number generator that I use, so it should be the same chance as post 3 as post 33 as post 333. But it would just sit better with me, I think, if I then had them in the time order that they came in. So it feels... Stop waving your hand around, Leslie. So it feels a better fit. So that's what I'll be doing in the future. So we had posts 2 to 369, as I say, and I didn't write down the number. I think it was 164, but I have written down the name, and that is LME Cowl, who is Linda from Pennsylvania, who posted this beautiful hat, which is the neon hat. So congratulations, Linda. Please contact me either on Ravelry or email me with your postal address so I can get this and a couple of other goodies in the post to you. And also let me know of the name of a charity that you'd like me to make a donation to. Life would be easier for me if it's a charity that I can donate to online, but if that's not the case, then we'll work around it. But I think most have online capabilities now, so that's what I will be honoured to do as part of your prize. So congratulations. This beautiful yarn will be coming your way once you let me know where to send it. So again, if you can let me know by the 23rd of April, that would be a fab. Thank you. I think that's it for this month. I said that it wouldn't be a mahoosively long podcast. I think that's partly because where I vlog every week, the kind of general stuff of life, those who watch the weekly vlog kind of know that stuff. So I try not to duplicate too much, and I try to keep this as crafting. So I'm now going to talk about life in general, because I'm nothing if not consistent. So next week I am not working. I've got 2 weeks away from work. Just needed to kind of clear my head. I love my job. I'm honoured to do my job, but it's been very busy, and you take on all these stories of all these fascinating people that you're helping people say goodbye to. So I've got all these stories in my head, and I need them to kind of just dampen down a bit because they're talking to each other. Yeah, so I just want a bit of time to kind of clear my head. Also, because it has been busy, there are lots of little jobs that I would like to get done, little chores. I've got some curtains that need rehanging because the hooks are coming loose. I've got some darning to do. Stuff that you don't necessarily need a huge amount of time for, but you do need a block of time when you're not going to be interrupted by telephone and people needing you for other things, or even that you've got to get ready to go out and do your work. So looking forward to that time off. It hopefully means I will have lots of lovely crafting stuff to show you. But if I don't, as I always say, this is not a race. This is about enjoying what we craft, not rushing at it. So we shall see. But as I said earlier, hopefully this blanket will be done. I mean, if not, it's not. But with only 2 more tubes to make, and then it's really a question of how long the assembly takes, and that could be an interesting time. I'm also hoping to get the ribber onto my flatbed knitting machine. I'm moving my hand this way because it's over there. I have been inspired by Carrie of Creative Obsession podcast. Again, links below. And she has a flatbed machine, and she's made socks on it because with a ribber attachment you can make tubes. Now Lou, who is expert introvert, from whom I got the machine, has already suggested doing tubes on the machine, but I just could never kind of got my head around it, or thought, well, I don't necessarily want a big tube, a sort of sweater tube. That was not what I was using it for. I was using it for flat pieces. But if I could make socks on it, that could be quite interesting. So I have told himself that I would like him to help me attach the ribber. I've seen a YouTube video which I'm hoping will guide us through it gently, and I have already apologised for any short temper and swearing that I do when we're trying to get it all working. Because there's always something that you put something upside down when you think it's the other way, or just something, isn't there? So I apologise in advance to him, because sometimes that's needed. Excuse me. So that's kind of where we're at with life and stuff. Lockdown restrictions are easing a little from Monday. It is possible to meet people outside, and that includes private gardens. So I am hopefully going to see family members over the next week or so, including meeting my great niece. So that will be rather lovely. And yeah, just generally doing stuff. I mean, I'm looking around my craft room / office now thinking it is a disaster area, so I may look to tidy this up, but I say that most weeks and don't do it. So that probably will be the same. Thank you so much to everyone who is here, who watches, who likes, who subscribes, who comments. You guys really are the best, so thank you so much for being here and for being part of this bit of the interwebs. It is much appreciated. Hope you're all keeping well. I know some places are going back into lockdown. They're talking about third waves of the disease. In other places things are opening up and vaccines are being rolled out and things are looking a bit calmer, a bit more structured. So whatever is happening with you, I hope that you're safe. I hope that you're well. I hope that you are having time to enjoy the crafting that you love, and that life is treating you reasonably. I think if we can all be treated reasonably by life at the moment, we'll be doing okay. Managing expectations down, but it'll work. So thanks everyone, take very good care of yourselves. I'll see you next weekend if you watch the vlog, or at the end of April if you watch the podcast. But thanks again for being here. Thanks for making it a community. It means the world. Take care everyone, look after yourselves. Bye bye.